Hey, what's up? This is Brandon Simmons from BrandonSimmons.biz, and this is my weekly video blog called Bullheaded, a review of the Houston Texans news, as well as a preview of the upcoming game matchups. So, this week, the Texans will be at home taking on the Tennessee Titans after a horrifying loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And so, I'm going to get into everything that they need to do to get this win against the Titans. But first, let me go ahead and recap this Jaguars game and maybe a couple of the reactions that I saw as well following the game. So, Texans lost to the Jaguars 17-10. Uh, just a, I don't know how to describe this loss. And it shouldn't be too difficult to describe it because it seems like it was pretty much the same loss as last week. Basically, the offense didn't do nothing for most of the game. Defense kind of held things in check all the way through into the fourth quarter until things, what I'm saying, just got out of hand. And, until the offense, and then that's ironically when the offense decides to show up, in the fourth quarter, try to get back in the game, make things close, but ultimately it was too late. So, I mean, that was pretty much the story of the game against the Buccaneers. This past week against the Jaguars, it was pretty much the same thing. Offense didn't do nothing. I think they got a field goal around the second quarter, and that was about it. They went three and out on the first drive, and defense they forced the Jaguars into a three and out on when the defense first took the field. So, um, I mean, legitimately, the offense was just pretty much blank until the fourth quarter. That's when the real action came about. So, fourth quarter comes around. Texans are coming off Texans are coming off a blocked field goal. Which one is this? Oh yeah, Texans are coming off a blocked field goal. Stroud throws a pick. You know, so the offense goes three and out. Recover. I guess this. Oh, receiver's blanketed. Never mind. Yeah. So offense goes three and out, and you know, um, after that, you know what I'm saying. Yeah. Excuse me. The defense forces a three and out. Yeah. Or they go through. I cannot read my writing. Anyway, so fourth quarter is when all the action happens. That's when Stroud throws his pick. Defense makes some more plays. Offense, they go three and out, and then defense comes back with a pick. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Petrie gets a pick. That sets up C.J. Stroud throwing the touchdown to Nico Collins. Collins, who had 8 catches, 104 in that game. Um, then next play or ensuing possession, how they call it, Tim Settles blocks a pass on fourth down. Uh, um, Nico Collins, Christian Kirk gets his first catch at that. Then Nico Collins catches the ball and he fumbles the ball away. So, all of this is, why the Texans are tied at 10 with a chance to put the game away. And then that just leads to a Jacksonville touchdown. And so, yeah, so it was pretty much that fourth quarter was pretty much the only action that the offense really showed, the only life that they really showed in this game. C.J. Stroud, he had another pedestrian game, 204 yards, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 204 yards, um, a pick. Excuse me, no, it's two picks and one touchdown, sacked twice. So improvement on the sacks. Uh, so yeah, that's another just kind of ho hum game for this team. Ooh, rushing totals. Okay, read that completely wrong, but yeah, it was just blah pretty much all day, and so um, despite it being blah, it was still a winnable game. You know what I'm saying? And this is one of those games. I probably mentioned this last week or whatever, but it's one of those games where teams are pointing like, "Oh, you shouldn't have been in that position if you didn't." Da 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 da, and that is the case. But two things can be true. They should not. Texans should not have been in that position, especially if their offense is actually like doing their job. You know what I'm saying? Because the Jaguars' offense, they shine like once, you know what I'm saying? But throughout the game, they were dropping a lot of passes, and the commentators kept pointing that out that, what I'm saying, that, their players were dropping passes like crazy, you know what I'm saying? So, um, a lot of those drop passes, that led to, third down, fourth down, opportunities for us to actually go in and take over. And we just didn't capitalize on that. And so that was one of those drop passes, one of those things that made this a very winnable game for us, and we just didn't capitalize on that opportunity. So pretty much that's my real takeaway and summary for this game. It was a winnable game that we just couldn't achieve, you know, especially with Nico fumbling that ball away. Like, he's one of the more, dependable guys on this team. But for him to do that, what I'm saying, that's just, ugh, that's just, that's just like, you might at this point you might as well just let that happen. You know what I'm saying? Just what else? It's just been a what else could go wrong type of year so far in 3 games, and that is what it is. So that's my game recap. Everybody's pretty much said everything. A couple of the reactions I noticed, I didn't write it down in my notes, but a couple of the reactions I noticed. One of them that stood out, I guess, D'Amico Ryan said, this offense was close. Man, I don't know what close he's talking about, but man, this is I'll admit they made small changes. I mean, not changes, but small improvements um, week to week. But even between these 2 weeks, I think these 2 weeks are better than the first week. But even then, it's like you could argue that they might have took a regression back this week, especially with CJ Stroud. And we'll get into that in a few, but I don't know how close they really are. They should be. They're not close to the expectations, that we expect them to be at. You know what I'm saying? But I don't. Hopefully, they're close to some type of success because this is getting bad for them, for real, for real. So yeah, enough of that game. On to some of the news items. So C.J. Gardner Johnson released this week. Surprising move. They traded him. They traded for him from the Philadelphia Eagles. They traded Kenyon Green for him actually, and so um, surprising move to some. And really, he's a this situation is funny to me because I remember back in preseason, they reported he had a knee injury, and then they were like, at first they were like, oh yeah, he's gonna be out for the year, and then it turned around and was like, oh no, he's actually gonna be ready for the season opener. So he's been starting like these last few games, and now all of a sudden he's gone. So it's like, wow, what a waste of time. So, uh, but yeah, according to reports from some of the different reporters and their sources or whatever, um, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff going on with him. Um, a lot of just unhappy with not being used to losing. You know, somebody said that one reporter had reported that he had an issue with like one of the players' contracts and about how much they were getting paid, and just all types of messy stuff. And so even in D'Amico Ryan's one of his presses, I believe it was on Wednesday, they asked him about it, and he was like, he just seemed like it just really wasn't a surprise that he was gonna get cut, and so he didn't really, according to the article I read, he didn't really go into a whole bunch of details, and they just gave the quotes that he gave, and it didn't really seem like it. He wanted to talk about the issue too much longer, but um, it just seemed his response kind of lends credence to some of those reports that he was just causing up a stir within that locker room, and you know what I'm saying. Like this is a team that that's coming out. When D'Amico and CJ came to this team, uh, it was coming out of its own dysfunction, if you will, more like organizational dysfunction and all that stuff. So um, I guess they were trying to be like, look, we ain't finna have this right now. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, they didn't try to trade him. So um, with trades, with trades, they're tricky sometimes. In any sport, when you're trying to trade a player, especially a disgruntled player, sometimes the process can get held up. So they probably figured like, we want to trade him. He's a quality dude, but we don't want to drag this process out any longer. Let's just go ahead, just cut our ties with him, keep it going. Which is, what I'm saying, kind of a smart move. Like you want to put this thing behind you as fast as you can, especially um, when you had this losing streak going on. We have attention drawn to what the offense is or isn't doing and things like that. So you definitely want to get that out the way and push that to the side as much as you can, so you can probably get this team like back together, especially if the guy's doing something as messy as that, according to the reports. I don't know, because hey, listen, teams, they got their own way of twisting stuff for whatever reason, and so if it's twisted, then we'll find out soon enough. But um, at the same time, he kind of his press conference kind of lends credence to some of those reports. Alrighty. Injury report. Everybody seems good right now. I think Derek Stingley was listed as questionable last time I checked, and that was from today. Seemed like he was in limited practice, but didn't practice like the previous 2 days before today. So he should be good to go. Suffered that rib injury. Yeah, he suffered that rib injury in Sunday's game against the Jaguars, and so he was out for most of the game. I think probably he got in the second quarter or something, uh, but yeah, he was at first they thought it was oblique, but then kind of found out it was his rib. So um, yeah, so he's been listed as questionable. So we'll see how that goes with him. Uh, Everybody else seemed to be good to go. I think Nico Collins is on there for a knee injury, but he's been listed as a full participant in Friday's practice as well. So now we have to get to this next opponent, Tennessee Titans. So Texans will be at home, taking on the Tennessee Titans. Last time they were at home, they lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last minute, or even way less than that. Um, Very much a less than a 20-second or 10-second touchdown scored by the Buccaneers to actually, yeah, scored by the Buccaneers to win the game. So, um, look, man, it's Tennessee. They they're both of these teams are on 3, and they're both on 3 with different expectations attached to it. So Texans are 0-3. They're not expected to be here. You know what I'm saying? Texans are 0-3 with all the problems in the world going on, not just with offensive line or offense, but you know what I'm saying, everything you can imagine. And this year they were expected to be contenders. They expected to come out the gate, play some really tough games, and win those tough games. But obviously, that has not been the case. As far as the Tennessee Titans go, not much really expected of them. They have a rookie quarterback, number one overall pick, Cam Ward. Um, he's been pretty decent, but he's still a rookie quarterback, and so he's still learning the system. He's still developing and everything like that. So um, it's really gonna boil down to how they actually use them. But before I get into all that, I will get into all. What I mean before, I ain't got nothing else to go. I'm about to get into all this right now. So, this is what the Texans need to do to win this game this week. Number one, let's just get this out the way. This is an end of the world game for the Texans, straight up. Like last week going into that Jaguars game, everybody was floating the idea of, what if the Texans go 0-3? They can still make the playoffs. They've done it before. Okay, totally different time that they did that. Probably not so totally different, but I mean, it's definitely a different squad, different team. So not saying that they cannot do that, but that's not a hole that you want to, wanted to even get into in the first place. And now you're facing 0-4 against the Tennessee Titans team that really has nothing to lose, to be honest with you. If they go 0-4, nothing doesn't seem like it's going to change, like at all. You know what I'm saying? They're still going to have, the number one overall quarterback that they can, build with and put more weapons around to, patch up anything. But you know what I'm saying? If they go 0-4, it's just gonna be another day. If the Texans go 0-4, all hell is going to break loose. So I I advise the Texans to really take this game seriously. Like this is an end of the world game for everybody. The fan base is gonna lose it. You know what I'm saying? Like the players, ain't no telling what's gonna happen, with them. But yeah, this Texans cannot go 0-4. They have to win this game straight up. And then once the quicker they and the more they get into that mindset of they have to win the game, I feel like the better they'll play, the better they'll execute. Especially the O line, which is the buzzword for the year, but they'll definitely get things going. Um, defense. Number two, defense has to set the tone. So Titans, they're coming in with a rookie quarterback. He's still learning the system. He's still trying to figure out how he can be used, how the coaches can use him to be effective. Their offense also has been struggling because of this. You know what I'm saying? You got a quarterback trying to find his way, and the offense isn't really finding their way. They're down in like both near the bottom of the basement in like offense. I think they're number 31 in just overall offense or just like passing offense or something like that. But they're pretty down there. So this is an offense that's been struggling. They can't find their rhythm right now. The best thing that they have going for them is Tony Pollard. So the defense has to focus on taking away Tony Pollard. Like I know they had issues with the Tampa Bay running backs. I feel like they kind of built the same a little bit, but um, they have to take him away, take him out the game. He's pretty much their best player right now. Uh, Calvin Ridley, I think Calvin Ridley's still up there. Let me just double check because I didn't I didn't make that mistake before, um, but yeah, definitely. All right, yeah, he's still up there. So yeah, definitely take away Tony Pollard, for sure, for sure. Um, just what I'm saying. And like I said, they struggled against Rashad Wright and who's the other running back? Bucky Irvin. So yeah, they struggled against Rashad Wright and Bucky Irvin in that Tampa Bay game. So um, definitely do not repeat that against Tony Pollard. Just take him out the way. And you do that by making tackles. So I EJ Speedy missed that tackle on third down last week and gave up the third down conversion. But man, y'all gotta do better. Got to, just got to. So yeah, that's all I got for this week. That's the only thing the Texans really need to do to win this game. Just treat this as an end of the world game against the Tennessee Titans, and also defense. Just set the tone for this game. It seems like an easy assignment laid out for you. Um, go out there, play like you've been playing these last two games, dominate, and set the tone to inspire the offense. The offense see like what I'm saying. Y'all are putting in the work on the field in this game. They'll want to go out there and put in the work on the field in this game as well and get things just going. So so yeah, that's all I got for y'all this week. If you're watching this on Facebook, like my video, excuse me, If you're watching this on Facebook, facebook.com/BrandonBlog, like my page, like this video, share this video. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share this button as well with your people. So, I'm Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz. Holla black.